All right, we are back. We're back from vacay. It's on a little vacay. Welcome to the Hockey Lounge, hockey fans and hockey fanatics, episode 32. Apple is back as well. It seems we have a little growth, both of us right now. Look like we just came out of the woods, but we are back, and the Hockey Lounge is back for tonight. We are going to be talking about some NHL news. We'll dive into the Atlantic Division, and we'll get into a few topics that happened over the little break here. What's happening, big guy?
All good, man. Just waiting for the start of the season.
All good, yeah. You know, the start of the season, we're starting to see players come into their certain cities, put on their new colors, like the colors behind you. Dougie Hamilton putting on that practice jersey of the New Jersey Devils. Players are starting to come into their cities and start practicing. Rookie camps are a couple weeks away. So like you said offline, you want to get this thing going.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, so a few things we missed while we were on vacay here. We'll get into the first topic that was breaking news over the weekend here. On Saturday around 5 p.m., Double K, Kahtaniemi is now a Hurricane. Thumbs up or down up with the signing of Double K?
I have to give it a thumbs down only because of the $6.1 million. I think he's a guy that's got potential still. I still think he can be a good player in this league. He hasn't proven anything yet, but it's going to be interesting to see what kind of a season he has this year to then see what happens next year. But I mean, for me, for the 6.1, that's steep. There's a lot of better players on the league this year that are making less than him.
Right. So you're saying thumbs down. I am saying thumbs down to Carolina, but I'm saying thumbs up to the Montreal Canadiens. And we'll dive into that, but Christian Dvorak, I believe it is, right?
Yep.
They get him in return in a trade. And I take him over Double K in a heartbeat.
I agree with you 100%. You just asked me about Double K. That's all. That's a thumbs down. Montreal, I think, came out of this better.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So, the Carolina thing, I think is thumbs down. $6.1 million is a lot for that player that, was scratched in the playoffs, and we talked about that last week. Breaking news yesterday around, again, this 5 o'clock hour seems to be the hour app where stuff comes down. Crosby, wrist injury. Penguins in trouble. Yes or no?
Oh, definite yes. I think the Penguins are in big trouble.
Yeah.
Malkin's, we were talking about it. Malkin's down for a while, and now Sid's going to be at least missing training camp, probably more. It's going to be a tough start of the season.
Yeah, I definitely think with Sid, being out 6 weeks, they're saying, with this wrist surgery, and if Jenny Malkin being out for a longer period of time, who knows if he's even going to be back by December, they're in big trouble. We talked about this. Jeff Carter now becomes your number one center. They have to slide probably Teddy Bluger into the 2 spot. Man, that is not pretty. I got to say, I've said this a number of times to the viewers and everybody out there, I am a Pens fan, and man, they are in deep trouble. I don't even think, that I am really disappointed in Hextall. I think he's had a bad offseason. I think he's setting this team up to fail this year. the window is obviously closing very, very fast now with these two injuries. The core brought many cups to Pittsburgh, but are you surprised that he has done not too much? He's actually, I believe the roster was better last year.
I'm really surprised just for the fact that, like him being a Flyer basically for life, and now he went over to the Penguins, and you think he'd kind of want to stick it, or he's got a little bit of a axe to grind now with the Flyers.
Yeah.
And seeing what they did, that they've improved. And I figured he would try to do something to at least combat that now, because now if that state looks like it's clearly going to belong to the Flyers orange right now, at least for the foreseeable future. So to answer your question, I'm very surprised he didn't do anything at all.
So go ahead.
I mean, they're right now they're in a worse situation than they were at the end of last year for sure. And some of the teams have gotten better, and it's a tough division.
Right. You look at the divisions, and we're going to get into the Atlantic. Things are going to be back to normal pre-COVID, and divisions are going to be tighter. Schedules are going to be tougher. This thing here, and we talked about it before with Sid, is that why wait so long to get the surgery done? This has been what Hextall said in the press conference yesterday. It's been an ongoing injury. Now he's waiting. It's September 9th. This happened September 8th. Why wasn't this done back in July? They already know Malkin's out until halfway through the season. This is utterly, to me, I think it's a fucking joke, to be honest with you. And I think, is this going to be the tank season where Shane Wright becomes a Pittsburgh Penguin? I don't know. This could go really south very fast. Tristan Jarry up, all these things. It's crazy.
It looks really ugly there.
Yeah.
And to think a team with Chris Letang and Malkin and Crosby are going to tank, I don't know, man. It's going to be a tough pill for those guys to swallow.
Right. And they also have the defending Stanley Cup back-to-back champions on opening night. I'm telling you, whoever's watching this tonight, tomorrow, next week, take the over in that game. Trust me, the over will be up
large.
Yes.
Just on Tampa alone.
Just on Tampa alone. Yeah, just on Tampa alone. You got it. All right. So PK Subban, a devil himself, okay, making waves out there. I put this hockey player broadcaster. Leafs and Bruins sniffing around up. What are you hearing out there?
Well, he's definitely going to play this season.
Yeah.
He's going to end up in the broadcast booth for sure.
Yeah.
At his age, I don't know if he tries to get one more contract for a year or two after this year. He's not going to get much on it because he's definitely in the decline. I see he's more – we've discussed this before. He's more of a distraction than anything else. Mm-hmm. Honestly, me being a Devils fan, I'd love to see him gone. I was hoping Seattle took him.
Yeah.
I think in Toronto would be a complete shit show if he came to Toronto, just with the fancy and everything like that, and all the attention he would get. He'd love that. Mm-hmm. He played in Montreal, had a ton of attention there, but then the last few years, you look at it, he was in Nashville, smaller market. He was in New Jersey, smaller market. I don't know. Coming back to Toronto, I see why the Leafs have interest. I don't know what they're expecting the Devils to eat on his salary to make it worth their while, because they're going to have to send something back.
Yeah. But
he's playing this year. He's a better fit with the Bruins, if you ask me, than he is with the Leafs.
Yeah, I listen, you know what? I think with PK, he brings that flair, that superstar stardom to your team. He's constantly on Instagram. You see him posting all this stuff. I think he's a likable guy. I would love to see him in the broadcast booth because I think he does a really good job. I think that's going to be his really big swing once he retires as an NHL player. But to me, he hasn't been the same since probably, I would say, if you even go back before the Nashville Predators played the Penguins in the Stanley Cup Finals. I think that series after that, PK's never been the same. There was some rumblings out there with PK that some of his teammates weren't happy in that Stanley Cup run because he woke up the giant in terms of Crosby. He made that Listerine statement, and after that, Sid took off and the Penguins took off to go on to win the Stanley Cup. But that being said, do you think he's a likable guy in the room, App? And I'm going to say this to you because even with the Devils and you being a Devils fan, there was some nonsense happening after games with him posting some dances on Instagram. I don't know if you saw them App through the season. Just a little bit of, and the Devils were struggling at some points, and he was still acting like a jabroni.
Yeah.
I don't know if I want that as a teammate.
There comes a point where you're a great guy in the dressing room and you're joking around this, that.
Yeah.
There's a time where you got to be serious. And like you said, when the team's struggling, guys don't want to see that shit. If you're smiling and dancing around and the team's in the middle of a 6-game losing streak or something, at some point, guys have enough. You know what I mean? Like, guys will start looking at this guy like he's a clown. Any guy, not just him, but I mean any guy that acts like that.
Yeah, for sure. And you're looking at PK too, where he's a big image out there. He does great things for charity. I like PK. I think he seems like a really good guy, fun guy. He has the hospital in Montreal, all this stuff. But for a guy that had so much upside, this could possibly be his fourth team that he gets on. Like,
he seems to be like we talked about before, like Torts.
Yeah.
Or Laviolette. He's got his he's got a shelf life.
Yeah.
He's a few years in Montreal. Maybe he started getting on their nerves a bit too much after 3, 4, 5 years.
Yeah.
Nashville. Yeah, remember Nashville, there was the rumblings too. There was the rumblings of, were they shopping him? Were they not shopping him? And now you're getting the same thing in Jersey.
100%.
So you think after maybe 2, 3, 4 years that he starts getting on too many people's nerves.
Yeah.
And not actually caring about what's on the ice because he hasn't won a Stanley Cup. So, you know what I mean?
And you also go back to the Olympics where Mike Babcock didn't even play him.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So
something's got to be there.
And I might be mistaken on this because I am getting old and memories, but I do believe though the year they went into the Olympics and won with Babs, this was the second year they won the gold medal. PK just came off a Norris season, I believe. We'll have to check that.
Yeah, I think you might be right, but yeah, we'll have to check it.
But I believe he came off a season that was stellar, and the big thing was he wasn't even playing. So for me, something's got to be there. If you have a generational defenseman, you don't see him moving to 4 teams. That's just the way I look at it, right? So his defense, really good defense, are hard to find, and you keep them, right?
100%.
So, and then the addition of Dougie Hamilton, to me, that made PK expandable, right? Yeah. So there's something going on.
For sure.
So you think the Leafs, again, you think the Bruins are a better fit up with PK?
I think so. I don't think he's the answer for Toronto. I really don't. And I haven't heard anything on what they would offer back. Because like I said, you're talking about Jersey eating a significant part of that salary. So if they're going to eat $4.5 million, $5 million the night, they're going to have to get something back. Mm-hmm. And that's a lot of money also for the Leafs to take on where they're at in the cap. So I don't know where it's going to go. I think Boston, he fits in more. I really do. Especially with the trickery that I think Boston's doing with the salary cap this year that at some point we're going to get into. But they might be able to fit him in easier.
Right. And I do think it might become a little bit of a circus if PK comes to Toronto.
For sure.
I think he heightens the nonsense, the dances, the limelight. I think it's better if he stays away from T.O. and lets T.O. do what they have to do. I think they already have enough spotlight on them and the struggles, and they have the Amazon documentary coming out very soon, which highlights were out on Instagram recently, and it's an in-depth look of the Toronto Maple Leafs. They're taking heat for doing a doc like this because they haven't won a cup since 1967. But we'll definitely, I'm going to tune in on that. I want to see what happens when they're up at 3-1 against the Canadians and the debacle happens. What happens in the room? So we'll see that. Last thing I wanted to bring up with you, App, is the GM of Dorian got extended in Ottawa the other day, and he made a quote, and this quote ran like wildfire out there. and the quote was, "The rebuild done in Ottawa. It's done. Yes or no, App? What are your thoughts? Is the rebuild done in Ottawa? Are they ready to take off and become that team, playoff team? What do you think?"
I think they're at ground zero, starting to go up. They've got the young talent. They're not going to win next year. They're not going to win the year after that. But I mean, I think they've got their young core of players that if they end up keeping them together for 3 or 4 years, they might challenge in the 4th or 5th year. I think, they're on their way up. I don't. He did a good job of tearing it down and getting some draft picks and some good young players. So I think they're on their way up. They had a pretty good year last year for what they had.
Yeah, they stayed. You know what, App? I was looking at their stats today. They started like something crazy, like 2-13.
Yep.
And then they started to get some goaltending. My biggest question mark with the Sens is I like everything he's done. Dorian's done. I like the draft picks he's done. I like some of the moves he's made. Can he lock up to Chuck? We'll see. But I like what he's done. The question I have, though, is they do still have that sieve in net.
Yeah,
Matt Murray under big time money here. I think if they want to make to the next level and challenge for that playoff spot, they need to get elite goaltending from Matt Murray. I don't know if you'll ever see that again. I think that was a 2-year wonder of what happened in Pittsburgh, but we'll see.
I don't think he's the goalie that they're going to win with, like you said. I think he's just there for now because they still do have a young team. There's still going to be some growing pains. I don't know if they want to put a kid or a young goaltender in there to take a shelling once every 2, 3, 4 games.
Right.
I think he's just there for now.
Yeah, for now, because I don't see him taking them to the promised land. If you built the back end like they have a little bit here, the front end looks spectacular with their youth. They look really, really solid on the front end. A couple more pieces on the back end, they'll become legit. They're on their way up. They got a great coach in DJ Smith. They are on their way up. I would say you're saying 4 to 5 years. I'm giving them probably not this year, the year after they're going to challenge for a playoff spot. So, but we'll get into that with our playoff predictions, our standings. We're going to have a roundtable app with, different guests on, and we'll be talking about our predictions for the upcoming year.
Just want to clear up the 4 or 5 years I meant challenge for the division, not the playoffs. I agree with you. In 2 years of challenging for the playoffs. Okay.
All right. It must be, you know what? I think you're agreeing with me tonight because you just like the scruff.
Yeah, it looks sexy.
It just shows that I'm a little wiser tonight. But anyways, so all right. So the rebuild in Ottawa, we think it's on its way up. Fantastic. The Atlantic Division. So this is the last division we're going to be talking about here on the lounge. We've went over all the 3 divisions in the last few weeks here. The Atlantic is our last division before we get into our predictions, our projections, our expectations of the 2021-2022 National Hockey League season. We talked about it. Players are in their cities getting ready for rookie camp and training camp. So the Atlantic Division, who made the best moves? Who didn't make any moves, App? And we're going to dissect it right now. We're going to get into who they added, who was subtracted off the roster, and if you think they're on their way up or their way down. And we're going to start off with the finalist of the 2021 Stanley Cup Finals, the Montreal Canadiens, the Habitants, the Habs, the toilet symbol of a crest, the Montreal Canadiens. Additions, Mike Hoffman, David Savard, Matthew Perreault, and Cedric Paquette, with Dvorak as well on Saturday. Subtractions, Double K, Captain Yami going to the Hurricanes, Pizza Man, Philip Deneau, Corey Perry, John Merrill, Thomas Tatar. What do you think of the Habs?
I think they've gotten a bit better. I think getting Dvorak pushed it over for me, and losing Kotkaniemi. How much better? You really, for me, in my mind, you can't really judge on what happened last year. I know they went to the Stanley Cup Final, but again, They played in one division the whole year, played the same 7 teams or whatever it was all year. Now you're going to play the rest of the league again. You're going to have the travel. It'll be interesting. How long is Hoffman going to keep doing what he's doing? Right. Savard, good steady defenseman. It's just, I think they've gotten a bit better. I really do.
It pains me to say this. It really does. But I like the Montreal Canadiens. I like what Marc Bergevin has done. He's addressed some soft spots in the lineup. That D just got better. I know Weber's out, but Savard comes in. Doesn't bring you the offensive touch, but brings you that stay-home, steady defenseman, big body. I like the Matthew Perreault pickup. He's a third-line checker, fourth line. He can add a goal or two. Cedric Paquette, again, brings some grind, some sandpaper to the lineup. I like what's happening in Montreal. I really do. I think you're going to see them contend, maybe middle of the spot for that division, but we'll get into that later on in the next few shows. But I like what the Canadiens have done. I think they're on their way up.
I agree.
And I like Dvorak. He's a good young player. Probably not a lot of viewers watch him, but because he's in Arizona, the kid's a stud. He's a good hockey player, man. He's a really good hockey player.
He played very well in Tampa Bay when everybody was watching. He played well.
Who's that, Cedric Paquette?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, Paquette. Yeah, for sure. I was talking about Dvorak, though. Dvorak.
Oh, thanks for Paquette.
Yeah, no worries. But Paquette's a guy that he can go up and down the lineup. You can put him on the number 1 line if somebody's hurt. Yeah. And he can play on the 4th line. He can also penalty kill. He's a good player, right? But this is the type of player that Montreal sort of needs, the sandpaper or whatnot. Losing Corey Perry, I think Corey Perry still has some dust in his game, so we'll get to him in a second. But the other guys, really, Thomas Tatar, you didn't see him in the playoffs. He was hurt. Philip Deneau, really good player. I really enjoyed watching him in the playoffs. I think he can be a fit on any team. Yeah. He brings a lot of intangibles to the lineup for sure. So Canadians on their way up. Definitely interesting to see. Now, the Rat House. The Florida Panthers. Man, I'm telling you, the NHL is going to be interesting this year. There's some GMs that made some really good acquisitions here. Yep. Okay. Now, Anthony Duclair, he's re-signed. Okay, so he's back with the team. We'll have that as an addition because he could have went somewhere else. Sam Bennett, acquired in the trade, right before the playoffs from the Calgary Flames. Love the kid. I think he's another guy. Sandpaper, can score, gritty, fights. Oh. Sam Reinhart.
Steel.
Lost in Buffalo, lost at the Anchor Bar, drinking beer and wings. Yeah. Now he's in Florida, Joe Quenneville, upcoming team. And then you got Jumbo Joe, just along for the ride, flip-flops and shorts and golfing. But subtractions, Keith Yandel, Alex Wenberg, Anton Strawman, and their goaltender, Chris Drager. What do you think about the Panthers?
I like this team. This division is going to be very interesting this year. When we get to the prediction show, there's going to be a few surprises.
I can't wait. I can't wait for that. That's going to be fun.
Changing of the guard, I think, but this team looks pretty solid. Waddell did a great job.
Yeah, that's it. You know what? I think. Listen, any team that's coached by Coach Skew, right?
Yep, I said Waddell.
Yeah, no problem. It's okay. Listen, we will do some testing. What's in that bottle that you're drinking after the show? Not sure if it's water or if it's vodka. So, hey, listen, man, we're all good. But that being said, we're talking about the Florida Panthers, their team reset, subtractions and additions. I like the team. Florida came out of the gates big time last year in the shortened season. I like them again this year to contend. Love the team. So we'll just see where that goaltending. I'm not a big fan of Bobrovsky, right?
Yeah.
Not a big fan. Small goaltender. Never a big fan of his.
Very hot and cold.
Right. So will the losing of Drager be the downfall of the team? We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see. But I like the team. Panthers are definitely climbing up the ladder here in the Atlantic. Stevie Y, the Red Wings. Now, I took some heat yesterday from a friend of mine, and his name is Stevie as well. He looked at our Instagram page, and again, if you want to become a Hockey Lounge member app, hit that subscribe button below, or
slap shot
that like button if you like the show. Take a slap shot at our heads, no problem. We like diving in front of shots anytime. I took some heat. The Hockey Lounge put, best GMs in the league, and this gentleman is Stevie's a huge Red Wings fan. He's been a friend of mine for a long time. I actually took him to meet Steve Eisman years back at National Sports Center back in the day on Kiel, Highway 7, one of the first national sports. A little younger than me, Stevie is, but Stevie Y was his idol. He gave me heat because Stevie Y was number seventh of GMs, okay? Never said that I thought that, but this poll that they had, this particular Instagrammer had that. Now, that being said, the Detroit Red Wings going to the 2021 season, 2022 season. Team reset. I like this move with Alex Nedeljkovic. I think he should be in the U.S. Open. What do you think with that name?
Facing Djokovic?
That's it, right? Right? It just sounds like, like a tennis guy. Nick Leddy, Pius Suter, another guy that should be in the U.S. Open, and Simon Edvinsson. Those are the additions for the Detroit Red Wings. The subtractions, Jonathan Bernier, New Jersey Devil, Luke Glendening, good fourth, third liner, and Darren Helm, a long-time Red Wing. Yeah. What are your thoughts on these Wings, man? I don't know. When is Detroit gonna be? And I love the Red Wings. I love that team. Only when they didn't play Pittsburgh in the Stanley Cup Finals. I just love the Wings. I love the color. I love the jersey. All that stuff that goes with them. It's a shame. It's a shame with this organization right now.
Yeah, you're right. A couple of those moves are good moves. I think they might be a little bit better, but marginally. And how could you be any worse?
Right.
They were brutal last year. So I still think they're going to be in the bottom of the league.
So when does this stop, Ab? When does this stop? Like why is the coach of the Wings there? What's his name? Blashill, yeah. Why is he still there? They've had, Dylan Larkin. They've had Tyler Bertuzzi. They've had some good players. They still have them. But, when is this going to stop?
I think he's keeping Blashill because when he was the coach of Grand Rapids, he did a good job with the young kids, bringing them up.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking Stevie's maybe hoping that, with all the young kids that they're going to try and bring up now in this rebuild, he can work with the young kids and get them better. It's the only thing I can think about. If you're a high profile coach right now, you want to go to Detroit? If they want to ask you, I don't know how many options he has. What's his name? Babcock. Because would he go back to Detroit? I don't think you take that.
You just took the words out of my mouth. I think maybe the best thing to do is you call Babs up and say, hey, you know what? You get a free year of Little Caesars Pizza if you come back to Detroit. Because listen, man, they're known as the hockey town. They're original 6 team. I don't care about Detroit because they're not going to affect the Penguins. I don't, but Detroit has to be there. Yeah. They have to be in the playoffs. They're one of those teams that you want to see be there.
Yeah, the league needs them there. It's
right. They have that beautiful new arena too, right? And
all those years in the playoffs, they were there. There was always the Red Wings. There were always the Red Wings there. It's like something's weird without them being there the last few years.
Exactly. So, I don't know what to say. The best pickup I think that Stevie Y made was getting the Nedeljkovic. I think this kid, in my eyes, will be a stud in the Nets. Like we talked about it with Carolina. I can't believe they let him go. So we'll see what the Red Wings do, and hopefully they make a little bit of a move up this season and improve, and Stevie Y gets going, because Stevie Y is one of my favorites. Class act. Love the guy. Love 19. You know what? If I was any hockey parent out there with kids that are playing that center ice position, Stevie Y is the guy you got to watch. Great hockey.
Even going back to him as a GM, that Tampa Bay team, he set them up.
100%. For sure. And that's why Stevie was on my back yesterday saying that Tampa Bay was all Stevie Y. You're 100% correct. They made a few adjustments. What's his name? Brisebois, I think it is, the GM there. He brought in some character guys. He made little moves that were really significant for their playoff runs. But Stevie Y was the architect of that team.
Yep.
All right. So one of the teams we love to talk about in the lounge, and you know what? When I think of him, I know that you're a little older than me. I know that you're just a little older. But every time I think of this team, I think of Fred Flintstone, and when he used to go to that club or that whatever it was, and he had those saber horns on him. Do you remember that?
The Water Buffalo Lodge.
The Buffalo Lodge. Hey, you know what? We're gonna have a show called the Buffalo Lodge. Okay. The Buffalo Sabres. Team reset here. Man, team reset or team sell? What do you think on that?
I think we just not talk about them.
Okay. We got to talk about, we'll make it quick though here. Additions, Will Butcher, Vinny Hinostroza, Craig Anderson out of the woodwork, was going to call it a day. And why? Why, Craig? Are you going to Buffalo? Like,
Wings.
Listen, I'm sure there's a team, like I've said this a number of times, at Sports Village in Vaughan. You could go play there and get more wins there. Like, try that out, man. Right?
Yep.
And Robert Hagg. Those are the additions for the Buffalo Sabres, the subtractions. Again, Ristolainen going to, whoa, we got some noise in the background. He doesn't like Ristolainen going to the Flyers there, the dog. Sam Reinhart, Linus Ullmark, and Jake McCabe. Look at those subtractions up.
They lost a hell of a lot more. Did you even mention Reinhart?
Yeah, I did. Yeah. Sam Reinhart,
that's unreal. And possibly Eichel too might be added to that list. Like, I mean, holy shit! They haven't made the playoffs in forever.
Oh my god!
They might finish below Detroit this year. They probably will. Like, their hashtag shit personified.
Yes, hashtag shit. And number. The worst thing that I want to see, honestly, is Shane Wright ending off in a Buffalo Sabres uniform. I do not want to see this. This will be ugly if he has to go there, because you know what? Whoever goes there, for some reason, it just doesn't seem like it's right. And I don't want to see him going there. And then they're on their way to a Shane Wright lottery. So we'll move on from there. All right. So the Sabres are out. And now to an interesting team you talked about briefly in the beginning of the show tonight, the Boston Bruins, team reset. Wow. A few things to look at here. Tuukka Rask not yet signed. Linus Ullmark, we just talked about him leaving Buffalo. He is with the Boston Bruins. They brought in Nick Foligno. That little trade from Columbus to Toronto, I guess, didn't work out. They weren't, both parties maybe weren't happy with what happened there. He's now a Boston Bruin. Eric Hulla, that seems to be another guy that's starting to get multiple jerseys and being on multiple teams here. And every trade deadline, his name is on the trade bait list. Then you have Thomas Nosak. I like this player. Definitely a player that's under the radar, played for Vegas, fourth line center. This guy is good. He's a good hockey player all around, power play, PK. Subtractions. I smell a dirty rat here. I smell up the Boston Bruins up to no good this year. Subtractions. David Krejci, Sean Kuraly, good player they lost. Kevin Miller retired due to injuries. I like that player, but too many knee injuries. Yaroslav Halak is now a Vancouver Canuck. What do you think about the Boston Bruins? And remember what we talked about before, they're sniffing around PK as well.
Yeah. I think they're still going to be the same old Bruins. I don't think they've won. I don't think they've lost. They still got Bergeron, Marchand, Pasternak. It was funny because yesterday I saw on Instagram that David Pasternak's playing ball hockey.
Yeah, did you see that?
Home and he saw some of his slap shots, and I'm thinking, why are you playing ball hockey now? You're going to tear up a knee. But anyway,
you know why he's playing ball hockey?
He's trying to beat my record.
The Falcons. I love it. Yes, Pasternak is trying to beat Apple's record for goals. Maybe the Falco Steelers are calling him, or the York Express app. I don't know. I was just going to say that, but you beat me to the punch. Awesome.
But going back to, I smell a rat like you. I think Krejci and Rask are coming back by the end of the year. Yeah. So I think they're pretty. If I'm banking on that, and I think that's going to happen, they're a pretty formidable team in the division again.
Yeah. I think that the coach in Cassidy just he brings a respectability, a system that can't be beat. One question I have for you before we move on to the next team. Patrice Bergeron is not going to extend his contract this year. He wants to do it after the season. This was news yesterday that came across the NHL wire. What are your thoughts here? Do you think that Bergie maybe looking at maybe some other avenues if the Bruins don't make some hay wave, or he wants a cup. He wants a second cup here, right? So what are your thoughts on that?
If I were the Bruins, I'd be worried.
Yeah.
I'd be worried because if you're going to offer him whatever you're going to offer him, $7 million a year, say, now you're going to offer him that at the end of the year. So I think the money's there for him. Right. If he wants to stay in Boston, it's there for him. Yeah. So the fact that he wants to wait, it's opening up some doors.
It's interesting. Yep. And I do see something that is interesting that with Bergeron that I could see him going to. And I could see him going to the red, white, and blue. I could see that happening.
Yeah, that popped in my mind as soon as you said it.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. So, we'll definitely watch that throughout the year with the Hockey Lounge. All right. The next team we're going to bring up here is the 6, the Leaf Nation. And here we go. Watch out. Additions: Peter Mrazek, Nick Ritchie, David Kemp, and Andre Cachet. Subtractions: Freddie Anderson, Zach Hyman, Joe Thornton, and the big Zach Bogosian.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on in Toronto. I don't think they filled their needs at all.
Yeah.
I don't even know what to say. They need to have monster years from Matthews and Marner and Tavares, and they always have good years. But if last year's stats weren't enough, this division is enough. There's teams in this division that have gotten better. They're up and coming, and the Leafs didn't have to face. Yes, they were with Montreal. I get it, but the Bostons they didn't touch last year. Tampa they didn't touch. Florida. It's going to be a tougher role to hold this year than it was last year playing in the North Division. So if they thought that they were the number one team in the North and that, hey, we're a first-place division winner in the regular season, so we should be good, you're not going to be good with those teams in your division now. I don't think they're good enough.
For sure. Again, if you want to become a Hockey Lounge member, hit that subscribe button below. If you like the show tonight, hit that slap shot button. We've been on vacay for a week, but we're back. Hockey Lounge, episode 32. We're having a good time tonight, going over news and notes and the Atlantic Division. Just going to give an update here quickly on NFL football tonight. Opening game here. We have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Brady and the bunch, at 21-16 over the Dallas Cowboys. That is happening right now. It is second quarter, 2 minutes left in the second quarter. So for all the NFLers out there, I'm hoping that you're going to watch our show maybe tomorrow night. If you're a Cowboys fan, if you're a Tampa Buccaneers fan, you know what? Have fun tonight. Drink those brewskis, have those wings. Enjoy the NFL, because you know what happens right after the NFL starts? The National Hockey League is on its way. Okay, the last team of the Atlantic Division. I left it for last. The back-to-back Stanley Cup champions app. To go back-to-back is quite an accomplishment. But COVID bubble, shortened season. Now we're talking 82 games. Like you just said, divisions are divisions pre-COVID. We talked about the Panthers. We've talked about the Bruins. We've talked about the Leafs. We've talked about the Canadiens. This is a real division. This is a beast division when you look at it now, right? Yep. So everybody is in definitely high compete level for that top three. The additions for the Tampa Bay Lightning, you have Corey Perry, Brian Elliott, you have Pierre-Edouard Bellemare from the Colorado Avalanche, and Zach Bogosian has gone back for another run for Tampa Bay. The interesting thing is, let's wipe out the additions, the subtractions to the two-time Stanley Cup champions. Gaudreau, Gord, Coleman, Tyler Johnson. Wow.
Yep. They lost a lot. I still think they're a really good team because their top six are good, but I think they've lost a lot. Losing that whole third line, which was their glue in the Stanley Cup playoff run. And like I said, it's been a great run, but man, that had to have been tough with COVID and everything that's been going on in the bubble. Mm-hmm. That division, you're right. The division's for real. I think Tampa's going to have a tough season. I'm not saying they're not going to be there, but they're going to have a real tough time this year.
I'm going to say this, and I know we have our prediction shows coming up or whatnot. I'm not going to tell you where Tampa Bay is going to come up. But when you look at the Atlantic Division, you have the Canadiens, Panthers, Bruins, Leafs, and Lightning. Something's going down there. We're going to be talking about it in the upcoming weeks. We'll have a roundtable again, predictions or whatnot. But it is a tough division for sure.
Yep.
So we'll see what happens. We're going to have our prediction show coming up. It's been great tonight. Any final thoughts on what's going on in the hockey world? Anything that you came across that you want to bring up tonight?
Oh, honestly, I can't believe the whole Eichel saga has gone on as long as it has, and the Tarasenko along with it.
Yeah.
I didn't say it before, but I'm thinking this whole Subban thing is revolving around the Devils trying to go after Tarasenko still. Mm-hmm. I think I've said it about 6 million times on the show that I think the Devils are going after Tarasenko.
Yeah.
This would make sense if they were to cut Subban. But it's just the whole Eichel and Tarasenko's saga is just what's on the mind all the time. They're getting close to camp and nothing's done yet.
The interesting thing about that, though, is I'm not sure if you saw it. I think it was last night. Craig Berube came out, the head coach of the St. Louis Blues, saying Tarasenko is going to be a Blue for this season. I don't know to believe it or not. It might be smoke and mirrors. It might be a way to generate more progress and maybe a trade talk or whatnot. But that seems to be, I guess, the head coach is thinking that, right?
Yeah, but I'll believe it if Tarasenko's saying it, because he's the one that's pissed off with them and everything like that. He can say, like, Berube can say all he wants, and GM will come out and say all he wants. If I hear from Tarasenko, then for me it'll be a dead topic.
For sure. So we'll definitely keep an eye on Eichel and Tarasenko going forward. Again, great show tonight. Thank you very much. If you want to become a Hockey Lounge member, hit that subscribe button. Take a slap shot if you like the show tonight. We're back. We were on vacay last week. We are back. The Hockey Lounge is back. We will see you next time very soon on the Hockey Lounge. Thanks for watching. Stay safe And NFL football is back. Have a great night, folks.
Night.